Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about how to do a hard aggressive cut and do it as safely as possible. Granted, when you're doing a very aggressive cut, it's going to be naturally a bit unsafe because you're essentially starving yourself. And by unsafe, I mean it's not the healthiest thing in the world, but that's why you have to set, I'll start by saying you have to set a time frame, just like a cycle, because that's essentially what it is too, or a training block or a steroid cycle, where you set a time frame. And I'm going to set the time frame for 6 weeks because you need at least that amount of time to actually make a noticeable impact. But I would say 6 to 8 weeks, because once you start going past that, it starts to take a toll on the body and you start to lose good weight, right? Muscle mass, because naturally when you're on a big caloric deficit, you're going to lose muscle and strength. So you're going to lose gains, which isn't ideal. So that's why the first thing I'm going to say is we're going to work 6 weeks. Try 6 weeks. You can do a really successful cut in 6 to 8 weeks, and which is 2 months. So that's a considerable amount of time. And here is my strategy on how to do it. So the basis of a cut is going to be going into a caloric deficit of around, I'm going to say on an aggressive one, around 800 calorie deficit, which is a lot. And the way I do it might be different than other people, but I know I've done it successfully, and my strategy involves incorporating lots of different strategies I've heard. So it's pretty simple though. It's pretty basic. For 2 days in a row, so do Monday, Tuesday, for example, you're only going to eat one meal a day. But that meal is going to be a considerably good meal, and it's going to have all of the things you need in it, but it's especially protein. It's going to have a little bit of carbs. It's going to have nutrients. It's going to have everything you need to sustain yourself, have that sustenance, and have a baseline of some relatively good healthy things in it, but primarily the protein. It's going to be high in protein. So perfect example is just chicken, rice, and vegetables. But it also could be eating like 6 eggs, half dozen eggs, and then like a piece of toast and an avocado. That's a good one because avocado is good healthy fat. You need a little bit of healthy fat too. So that's going to be it. And then you eat it. You eat that for more of like a lunch, because if you ate it first thing in the morning, and then you have the whole day ahead of you where by the end of the day you might be a little bit starving. So I wait like a good 2 hours after I wake up before I eat that first meal, and then you can even do fasted cardio during that time, or at least go for a walk. But I'll talk about the exercise aspect of it later. So for 2 days of the week, you're going to for the first 2 days, you're going to have one meal a day. And then, so Monday, Tuesday, and then on the Wednesday, you're going to eat 2 meals, right? It's going to be your cheat day. No, I'm just joking. But it's like, 2 meals a day. So you're going to eat, and they're going to be considerable meals. But obviously, the main thing is eat clean and don't eat excessive carbs. I think that's going to be the main 2 points. Excessive calories, too excessive calories to eat clean, but they're going to be considerably good meals, right? And that day is going to be like could be on like a big training day, like legs or something. So you have at least the calories for that training day. I was going to talk about that a bit later, but that's what I'm going to say. Then for the next 2 days, so Thursday, Friday, you're going to go back to the 1 meal a day. And then on the Saturday, that's your truly cheat day. You can eat 3 meals of the day. And then Sunday, go back to like 2. Sunday's optional, but I think weekend's a good day too, where you can have at least one day of the week where you eat kind of normal. So overall, if you like averaged the whole week out, you're going to be in that caloric deficit of around, at very least 500, 800's I think kind of the sweet spot for like an aggressive cut. Because if you're at that like 800 caloric deficit on average, say, for a period of that 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to lose weight. And it's not just going to be water weight. That's the other thing. A really, truly, truly aggressive cut, like for like boxing or something, where you're like wearing like a parka in a sauna type of thing. Just that's getting out all the water weight so you can meet your weight for your fight or whatever else, right? So we're not just a matter of doing that. We want to be losing, like our true cut is losing the fat, right? And I think it's necessary to do. I think at least once a year, for everybody should kind of go on a little bit of an aggressive cut to bring their body fat percentage down, especially when you're doing steroids. When your body fat percentage is down, there's going to be less aromatization, negative side effects of the testosterone, so you can run higher amounts of gear too. So that's going to be key. And then also you just feel better. And when you bring your weight down and then you go back to training, like on another training block where you're not cutting, it's almost like you can come at it a little bit better. It's like few steps forward, one step back kind of mentality. Granted, when you're on this training block, here's the thing: you still need to be training, but it's not going to be to the same necessarily extent, or at least you're not pushing the same amount of weight around than you are when you're say bulking, right? It's not like you're going to be going for PRs. That's the key aspect of things. Now, since I'm talking about training, I might as well get into that. You should ideally be doing some kind of cardio or light cardio. Oh, an accident just happened. Oh. Almost just happened. So something like I like to use like a reclining bike. I walk my dog for like literally 2 hours every night. Walking's fine, with like a nice brisk walk. You're burning a lot of calories, and but like getting on the reclining bike for 45 minutes or so before pre-workout or after workout, that'll work too. Things like that. But if you want to go a little bit more hardcore and go for long runs or go on the stair climber for like an hour, that's good too. You're burning calories at the same time being in a caloric deficit. And I mentioned before that you can do it first thing in the morning, like a light cardio even, just because it's going to be your fasted cardio at that time. Now, speaking about fasting, the good part about this 1 meal a day strategy is you're going to be essentially fasting for 24 hours every day. And I truly believe that when you are fasting, you're going to be burning calories more. The longer you don't eat, the longer the faster period, the more your body is going to go into that not anabolic but catabolic state, where it's actually going to break down things in the body, break down things like lipolysis. What was it called? Lipolysis. No, I have lipolysis, right? Lipid breakdown. To then use to energy, correct? Especially when you're working your muscles at the same time, because your body's going to be like, okay, I need to draw energy from somewhere when it's repairing itself, even to then build that muscle. And you got to also think that even things like breathing and your heartbeat use a lot of calories, okay? Just your general body functioning use calories, so it needs that energy from somewhere. And when you are fasting for most days, I think it's going to draw upon that, okay? So that's how you aggressive cut. But there's one more aspect about it that I could say also, which is use of compounds to help the cut. I'm not going to mention any names, like I don't want to make this video about that, but there's ones that are more standard, in the bodybuilding community, and then there's ones that are kind of more unhealthy, such as like illegal substances that I've heard people use in moderation because they work as a really good appetite suppressant. Now, I'm not going to recommend that by any means, because there's other cardiovascular risks involved in that, but it does work too. What's the new one that everybody uses now? Retroglutide or whatever it's called. I'm not going to speak much about that because I don't know much about that, but that's one that is an appetite suppressant. But there's others that are standard in the bodybuilding community. So these are things that you can use to help control your appetite when you are essentially in a starving state, which is exactly what it is. It's like you're essentially starving yourself. Now, if you start running into some warning signs that, like, say, headache, blood pressure, you should monitor your blood pressure. You should monitor yourself and be focused on yourself. If you notice that that maybe there's too much like cortisol buildup because you're starving and you're irritable, etc., you can add a little bit more food. Just bring down the aggressiveness just a notch. Maybe eat a light meal, and then at night, like some like another just small chicken and rice, or a few extra eggs, or a sandwich or something, small sandwich. Like if you feel like if you're really unhealthy and it's really hurting you, then add a little bit, make it a little less aggressive. But here's the thing though, like no pain, no gain type of thing. There's going to be a little bit of pain. It's going to suck in some regards too, and you might get things that some side effects from going on aggressive cut. I should also mention that you should also keep your electrolyte balance up, and you should maybe supplement something like an amino acid complex blend. So again, you just have this baseline of things that your body can draw upon, so that it makes it a little less dramatic in the side effects, or like a little less unhealthy, if that makes sense. So I think I pretty much covered it. It's not like a really complex topic, starving yourself. Like, just don't eat as many meals. But I think I brought a structure to it, which is going to be good. And if at least one day of the week, you eat normal, it's not like you're going through months at a time of not having a normal day of eating. Like, at least you can make it even twice a week where you kind of eat normal. If 5 days of the week you starve yourself, 2 days of the week you eat normal. That can work too, do add up your calories, and you should be in that 500 to 800 range. Like, that's a good sweet spot. I think if you start pushing more over 800, it's gonna be worse, but it's still doable. Maybe you just don't do it the same length of time. But if you want an aggressive cut that's kind of sustainable for that 6 to 8 weeks, I think my method's gonna work well. Okay. And if you really want to snack later, and say that one meal a week. If you want a little snack later in the day, eat a handful of oatmeal, a handful of nuts, eat an apple, grapefruit or something later in the day. That's fine too, okay? I'm not saying don't eat like a snack later in the day, but just there's going to be one solid meal where you get a good balance, mostly protein, a little bit of carbs. Carbs is still okay, but just not in excess. You're not eating big bowls of pasta with no protein in it. Or, so there's, you could eat your chicken and rice, but like just a small handful of rice in it, like a half cup or so, with a big piece of chicken and a little bit of broccoli. That's fine too. Like a good solid meal of that, like a big piece of chicken, so you get the calories you need, and you get the protein you need, especially when you're still training during that 6 week period of time. All right, I think I'll leave it there. There's not really much else I want to say. I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to say about that. So let me know in the comment section what you think about this video, whether my strategy is good or not, or something else that you would add, because my strategies are always adapting, and some of you guys have provided some good feedback on things that I've taken into account myself. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Peace.